I'm so excited. I am here in England with Maggie Gray, and I have to say she's probably one of the most creative quilters that I've seen here. I'm not sure I actually call you necessarily a quilter.
I'm not a quilter.
No, you're not.
No, I make no claims at all for
So
being a
how
quilter.
would you describe yourself?
A textile bod.
A textile bod?
Bod, as in body. Textile.
She's a textile bod. Now, Maggie, you just told me you've written 10 books.
Yeah, about that, I think.
Yes. And you know, the ones that I have seen, I'm not sure I've seen all 10, you're so creative and so innovative. What is this paper, metal, and stitch?
Well, Paper, Metal and Stitch was one that I actually wrote with my friend Jane Wilde. The reason that I made Jane Wilde write it with me is that she is a wonderful paper artist, but she won't give lessons and she won't do talks. So I said, okay, if you won't do those, we'll do a book together.
Oh my
And
gosh.
we had the best fun doing that book. We
bet
just
you
couldn't
did.
stop. It was wonderful. So the idea was it's basically about stitch. It's about all sorts of things that you can do on paper, and that's Jane's part, and then I did the stitching in metal bits for my half of it. So it was a good book to do.
Okay, stitching in metal.
Mhm.
How do you stitch in metal? Isn't it pretty stiff?
Yeah, it's pretty stiff, but you use the very fine shim metal, which is just sort of a layer. It's not a foil, it's heavier than a foil, but it's just a layer of metal. And the secret to stitching on metal is to put something weighty underneath it, like a Timtex or a heavy Vilene.
Yeah.
And then otherwise your thread will break as it goes through.
Ah, that's a good tip.
A good tip, yes.
Yeah,
Other
yeah.
than that, you just stitch on it.
Oh my gosh. Okay, now, stitch, dissolve, distort.
It's a tongue twister, isn't it? Not
It
a
is.
good one for interviewing people, is it? Stitch, dissolve, distort.
You say that really good.
I've been practicing. Yes, this is rather sad because it's the last book that I did with my friend Val Campbell Harding, the last Batsford book that I did with her. Sadly, Val died. She was an incredible, I think everybody just knows Val and what an incredible force she was.
Yeah.
So that's a really special book to me. And the idea of that one, again, stitch comes into everything. It underpins everything. It's on dissolving fabric. It's all about using innovative ways with heat tools and metal and all sorts of things to distort fabric. So that was the thinking behind that book.
Wow. Oh, creative stuff.
The next book, this is one that
Embellish
again,
and stitch.
yes, the embellisher. Not your American form of embellishing, but using the embellisher machine.
As in felting?
No, as in using it with quite seriously weird things sometimes. For instance, printouts that you've done on your inkjet printer and worked into all sorts of ways to use the embellisher machine and to produce not just felted surfaces. You can just see from the surface stitching on scrim with the embellisher machine gives this Vesuvius-like effect.
So for those that don't know, the embellisher machine is like a sewing machine without thread.
Yeah.
But with a bunch of barbed needles.
That's right, that goes through. It is a dry felting machine, really.
Right, it's dry felting. But you're talking about doing it with a lot of other things besides
definitely.
wool.
Yeah.
But, you know, you really think outside of the box, don't you?
I try to.
That's good. That's good. And I see one more here from Image to Stitch. Oh,
hot off the press, this one.
Oh, good.
It was only published less than 2 months ago, and it's out of print already. And Batsford did an extra big print run on that one, so I'm absolutely overwhelmed by the reception. I've never had a book.
Wow!
That I've had so many emails, and it's just amazing. Yes, I'm so thrilled with it.
Oh my gosh!
And it's like it says on the box. It's taking an image without being too technical, just a digital photograph that you've got on your computer, printed out on your ordinary A4 inkjet printer, and then do things with it.
Yes, and I went to your lecture yesterday, and you really do some creative things with distort and print on all kinds of weird things.
Oh, definitely, yes.
Well, that's outside of the box again. There she goes. Now, what are you going to show us here today?
Okay, well, I thought what we would look at is actually a way of transferring an image. You can either have an inkjet image, or you could have a photocopy. It works with toner as well. And we're going to, the simplest thing, the only thing that you need to transfer this to fabric is what we call bonder web and you call fusible webbing.
Right, okay.
And it gives a very soft, faded sort of effect. This little book has little samples in it. These are sort of separate samples.
Yeah.
It gives you a lovely speckledy, faded image. It's great for sort of fresco effects. It's wonderful with lettering.
Yeah.
If you do it with lettering, you've got to remember to reverse it.
Right.
So
Good.
it comes
Good
out
thought.
upside down. And all you do really is you iron your print, your image, face down, so you've got the colour side down, onto a piece of fabric that you have already ironed fusible webbing onto.
Okay, let's just back up a minute. Print this on paper.
Or use a photocopy.
Or a photocopy.
Yeah.
Put fusible on your fabric.
Yeah, iron your fusible on, and then if you have paper on your fusible, pull the paper off.
Okay, right. So
you're
we got
just left with
sticky
the
side up.
Sticky side up, so you've got the webbing sticky side up. Then
Picture side down.
Picture side down,
Okay.
that's right. And a really, really good iron on a very hot surface.
Okay.
Very hot surface. Iron for quite a long time. Turn it over and iron on the other side.
Okay.
I'm working on felt here because what I do, like, perhaps I am a bit of a quilter, because I like the fact that when you stitch into felt, you get a slightly quilted effect.
Yeah.
And these are hand stitched, although I usually machine.
Okay.
These are actually hand stitched samples. So what you do then is you get your sponge. I'm just wringing out that sponge so that it's damp, and pat it all over the back of the paper, alright, like that. Then you leave that to soak in and to absorb it, and perhaps if it's not really ready to go, you'll know. If it's not wet, then a little bit more water on it and leave again. And then you simply rub with your finger, and like magic, can you see?
Oh.
The image starts to appear.
Okay.
Can I hold that up? Underneath.
Well, that is pretty neat.
And then what you'll find is actually when it dries, you'll have a whitish film over it.
Right.
And then you just go through it again, one more layer with the sponge. Just this time keep it quite dry because you don't want to smudge your colours.
Right.
It's not washable, so it's really more for panels, bags,
right,
those sort of things, book covers, anything like that. And if I'm going to use it for book covers, then I would put a clear matte varnish on the top just to preserve the surface.
Yes.
And that's it basically. It gives you this lovely faint wishy-washy, gorgeous to stitch into. And what I very often do is, having got it to the stage where you can see the image through,
right,
then I will actually pencil into it as well. So I'm drawing into it, which adds another extends the technique as well and gives it a more handcrafted look.
Wow.
So that's it.
Now, do you travel and teach?
Yes, I do. I've done America and Australia several times, New Zealand, all around the place, really.
Yeah.
So,
so if they can't come to you in the United States to take a class, do you have another option?
They could join Workshop on the Web.
And what is this Workshop on the Web?
Workshop on the Web is a wonderful resource. It's an internet magazine, but it's very much based on taking a class. And it's not just me. I get all the really good tutors to write articles. People like Jean Littlejohn and Hilary Hollingsworth, really, really good tutors. And you will go through a technique step by step. And then when they finish showing you the technique, they'll give ideas for how to use that technique in other ways, for taking it further. So it's not just a project you're making, although you can stop at the project stage.
Right.
And that comes out 4 times a year. And each issue has 7 workshops.
Nice.
And an interview and products and all sorts of things.
Yeah.
So big plug. And now we also do the quilters version, Quilt Wow. So
Quilt Wow.
Quilt Wow.
This is like an email or an internet magazine.
You download it, yes. You go to the site. We send you, once you sign up, and it's very, very reasonably priced. You sign up, and then every time it's due, we send you a password to get into it. And
that
you
sounds
go.
pretty neat.
Oh, it is. Yes.
That
Well, we
sounds
have. When we started Workshop on the Web, Clive and I. But mainly because a lot of people have said, I'd love to come to your workshop, but I'm disabled, I can't get out, I'm a shut-in, as we call them. And I thought it would be great to bring workshops to people like that who are carers and really couldn't do them. So
oh my gosh,
it's
well, good
wonderful.
for you.
I love it.
Yeah,
good stuff.
Well, thank you so much. It's been really neat to get a peek at what you're up to. You're so creative, and I just love your stuff. And thank you all for joining me, and I hope you'll come back next month and see what I have for you then. Thanks for being with me.